Friends of Oak Hills, this is Pastor Dale with our weekly video Touchpoint. Today is Thursday, March 26, 2026. Today, for our Points to Ponder article, I have an article titled Christian Friendship. The Pilgrim's Progress, written in 1678 from prison by John Bunyan, is said to have been printed more than any other book other than the Bible. It is an allegorical story that tells the journey of a man named Christian who is seeking to arrive in heaven. Bunyan uses this style to help illustrate the various trials a believer might face as he or she walks by faith in this world. If you have never read The Pilgrim's Progress, I would encourage you to add it to your reading list. Today, I'm interested in drawing attention to the companions that join Christian on his faith journey. Early in his journey, Christian is joined by a name Pliable. As a side note, you learn quickly in this book that the names of the various characters in the story reveal their true nature. Now, Christian is still young in his faith, or perhaps he has not yet come to saving faith and carries a heavy burden from his sin. The two of them, while walking or talking about the hope of heaven, fall into the slough of despair. This is a miry swamp that causes travelers to lose their eagerness to continue the journey of faith. Pliable gives up quickly and returns to their home city, the city of destruction. Thankfully, Christian is met by a man named Help, who leads Christian out of the despond and back on to the path of his journey. A little while later, Christian catches up with a gentleman named Faithful. He is from his hometown, the city of destruction, as well. Together, they arrived at a fair in a town called Vanity. This fair represents the temptations of the world. Christian and Faithful encourage one another as they face and resist the temptations. The members of Vanity are not happy and throw the two travelers into prison. In a jury trial, Faithful is found to be an enemy and disturber of the trade, and he is sentenced to death. In God's providence, however, Christian escapes from the prison and continues his journey. Very quickly after leaving the Vanity Fair, Christian is joined by another traveler, Hopeful. Bunyan states that Hopeful was, quote, made so by the beholding of Christian and Faithful in their words and behavior, in their sufferings at the fair, close quote. Hopeful will stay with Christian until the end of the journey at the celestial city, but is not without facing various trials. Two of the trials they face are worth noting to help illustrate their friendship, their companionship between Christian and Hopeful. As they are making slow progress on the way to the celestial city, they become discouraged by the difficulties they face. Then they come upon what is called bypath meadow, a pathway that looked promising and easy for travel. Christian convinces Hopeful to join him on this easy way. But they shortly found that they had wandered from the way and entered into the land of giant despair. This giant captures them and locks them up in Castle Doubt. Christian began to despair a life while he's locked up in the dungeon, but Hopeful reminds him of the goodness of the king of the celestial city to which they are headed, and how Christian himself has been protected from many enemies while on his journey. Eventually, Christian remembers that he has the key to unlock the dungeon, his chains, and escape from Castle Doubt. That key he held was the promises of God. The last trial Christian and Hopeful face is the river that separates them from the celestial city. The river represents the passage of death. As Christian enters the river, great darkness and horrors fall upon him. He fears that he would never gain entrance into the heavenly city. Hopeful stays by his side and encourages him that God remains faithful even in death. And so they both arrive together at the celestial city. Now, there is much that we could glean from Bunyan's allegorical tale, and there's much more detail involved in than what I just briefly shared. But I want to briefly draw attention to the role that friends play in the story. Christian never would have made it to the celestial city without the companions who were with him and helped him. Help, faithful, and hopeful all played key roles in assisting Christian to fight off despond and vanity and despair. Perhaps Bunyan had Hebrews 3:13 in mind as he was writing this story, which reads, "Exhort one another every day as long as it is called today, that none of you may be hardened by the deceitfulness of sin." Or maybe he had Hebrews 10:24 and 25 on his mind. Let us consider how to stir up one another to love and good works, not neglecting to meet together. The point of these Hebrews texts and the Pilgrim's Progress is that every Christian needs the community of faith, and specifically helpmates, to help us persevere in the way. A Christian is never meant to travel alone. So how about you? Do you have people in your life who can aptly be named help or faithful or hopeful? Who is stirring you up to love and good works? Who is exhorting you each day? We need such companions in our lives as we journey in faith. A few highlights to draw your attention to this week in the life of Oak Hills. First of all, I remind you again of our missionaries of the month for March are Evan and Holly Shaw. Evan and Holly serve with Sacred Road Ministries on the Warm Springs Reservation in Oregon, and they are part of our outreach ministry on that Native American reservation, seeking to bring the hope of the gospel, seeking to see a church planted and ministry happen. So let's be praying for their ministry efforts. They just had spring break outreaches. They are ramping up now for hosting various summer teams throughout the summer. Pray for their stamina, their planning, and the preparations for these ministry efforts. This Saturday, just in 2 days, we have a very important day at Oak Hills. It's our semi-annual work day, working on our building and on the grounds of our facility, sprucing it up, getting it ready for the Easter and spring season. We'd love for you to come and pitch in and be part of that work day. It's going to start at 8 a.m. and you could come and go as you are available or stay as long as you can. We appreciate your help. And then at 11 a.m., our women are invited for a baby shower for Carly Downs, celebrating the pregnancy of their twins that she is carrying. And that'll be at 11 a.m. here at the church as well. And then looking ahead to Easter weekend, very special weekend, as we remember and celebrate the work of Christ on the cross and in the resurrection. I hope you could join us for these services, these gatherings that we have. We hold a Good Friday service that Friday evening, April 3rd at 7 p.m. It's a service of shadows where we hear the story of Christ's suffering. We reflect on it in silence and in song, and we visualize it through the extinguishing of lights. That's why it's called the service of shadows. It just illustrates and points to the darkness that comes because of the death of Christ, the darkness that is due to us for our sin. And then Sunday morning, we get to celebrate the resurrection of Christ, the hope of our salvation. We have an egg hunt for our children at 9:30, and then a reception for the whole church family, opening up at 9:45, and then our worship service at 10:30. I hope you come. Invite a friend to join you. Come early for the reception. Use that as a time to fellowship with others at our church as we prepare to celebrate the resurrection. Well, thank you for joining me this day for our Touchpoint. I look forward to being with you soon for worship this Sunday or at the workday. God bless.